Albert or Jacob tends to come. Albert's the worst one, because as soon as I go into any form of meditation, he wants to come through. It's like, I'm there. I'm on the phone to members of the group, and he tries to come through, and they say on the phone, your voice is going. I said, no, this bloody crafty old sod here won't leave me alone.
I love it. I love it.
And people say to me, that's a bit disrespectful. I said, no, it isn't. I said, we have a banter.
Yeah, yeah.
I said, that's what it's about. I said, don't think they suddenly go all this pious and divine and heavenly type of being.
That's right.
We argue. I mean, when I'm watching telly, if he comes in and minders me, I'll say to him, can you bug off? It's my time. And if I throw a wobbler, he usually turns around and says, I'll come back when you stop spitting your dummy out. It's that bond. Of course, there are some guys I would show more respect to, such as Jacob. I couldn't do that with Jacob because he wants that respect. He expects that respect because that's what he gives me, he says.
Yeah.
You know, Black Bear wouldn't do, but Black Bear wouldn't be able to take it in that context anyway as much. Where Albert is just a miserable old bugger at times, you know what I mean? And I'll never forget when I first saw him, it gobsmacked me. I was stood in Argos. I was with two friends. It was literally dead. There was no one in Argos except for us three and the counter staff. And I went over to look at the tellies while my two friends were trying to buy something. And it was one of these massive, big 65-inch flat screen TVs. And I kept looking at it. And in my mind, I kept thinking, I could get that on my Argos card. That would look really nice for me watching the telly. And suddenly I became aware there was an old gentleman stood next to me, only my height, flat cat, elderly bloke, and he brought me concentration because he suddenly turned around to me and said, TV's not like they used to be, are they? And I went, no, they're not. And I said, but it looks nice. Never thought much of it. Turned around towards my mates, and I suddenly stopped and thought, wait a minute, there was no one in the shop a minute ago. Looked around, he wasn't there.
Yeah.
As if he'd stopped me from doing something, spending money that I didn't really need to spend.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was strange. I'll never forget him to this day. And yeah, he couldn't have gone anywhere. It was quite a distance to the front door. I'd literally only turned around for about 10 seconds and walked when I suddenly thought, hey, where's he come from? I didn't see him a minute ago. And when I looked back, I just went cold. I thought, that's spirit.
Yeah.
And not long after that, I found out Albert was one of my guides. And it was just fascinating. It was like, my God, was he trying to stop me from doing something I shouldn't have been doing?
Yeah, yeah. See, it does make me wonder sometimes if we've actually got free will.
Funny you should say that, because when I put that point once to Albert, Albert said, well, what is free will? That was all he said. He said, well, what is free will? What do you see free will?
It's freedom of choice, ain't it?
That's what I said to him. And all he said was, I want you to think about that.
Yeah, because, yeah, now you say that, right? When I done that little bit of trance with Ellie the other day, and Charlie said, everything that's gone in your life was supposed to happen. And then I've been thinking about that. I'm like, well, yeah, okay, we make the choices, but we never make the wrong one, I guess.
Yeah.
Because the choice we make is supposed to put us on the path of evolvement of learning.
Yeah.
So there's never a wrong choice, because the choice you make is determined on your point of awareness and understanding that one moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then you make a choice of a situation you're in, and then that puts you on a path of understanding.
Exactly. And the other thing I find with Albert and Jacob especially, in fact, even Black Bear to a certain degree, whatever answer they give me to a question, they leave me with another question.
Yeah.
It's a continuation. It's like, there's your answer, but now that's giving you another question.
Yeah.
There's your answer, but that's now giving you another question.
Yeah.
And it seems to make you look at things deeper and deeper. With each answer you get, the question then what you've got is a deeper question.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what Albert said, this is about self-learning.
Yeah.
He said, if you were not getting another question after the answer was given, you would not be learning. And that's when I would question what's happening, he said, because you should have more questions than answers.
Correct. Yeah. And it's funny you say that, because me and my friend Sophie, we say that, you know, we ask a question and it just leads us to more questions.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, sometimes it blows your mind. It gives you another subject to look at.
Yeah, yeah.
And they did this with me. I mean, one of the things they're talking about next Tuesday in the circle, they want to talk about, they're going to do it this Tuesday, but with me not being well, I could only manage 20 or 25 minutes sitting. Black Bear brought me back. Black Bear actually turned me out to the group and said, because of the illness he's going through at the moment, it would not be right to keep him down any longer. So yeah. But next Tuesday, they want to talk about the pineal gland. And now we have misinterpreted the fact about the third eye. And now we've put this mysticism, now we've put this these rituals and the paranormal connected with the third eye. Now we see it as an eye. But like one of the guys said, it's a receptor. It's like a radio mast. It tunes in to energies.
And well, that's what all your chakras are.
Exactly. But people seem to think, I mean, you get these silly, I've seen somebody last week, massage your forehead to help your third eye open and stuff like that.
I just heard my guide laugh.
And one of the guys went, what the hell's going on? You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like my friend was talking yesterday, that he's just finished reading my book. And he said, I liked the way you talked about Reiki. He said, and you said, you know, you guys now saying you don't bother like putting symbols on your hands and doing these bits. I said, well, why? There's no point. It's a ritual.
Yeah, exactly.
All you're doing is connecting to source. And then that's it. The universe does the rest. Because energy doesn't come from us. It comes through us.
Exactly, exactly. It was the same. It's about 5 years ago. I'll never forget it. I was in a right ratty mood when I went upstairs to sit. And I did something I have never done in my life. And I've got witnesses. The group said what Jacob actually said. And I was pretending to be awkward by putting this stupid idea of roots down in the ground. You know, when they say about grounding?
Yeah.
And Jacob turned round and went, what are you doing? So I turned around and said, I'm grounding myself and putting roots into the ground. He said, why? What do you want to be, a tree? And it's like this misinterpretation. Grounding just means bringing yourself back from the spirit world to your normal physical life. You can do that by watching TV, going shopping, eating a meal, going out with your friends. It's bringing your consciousness and your awareness back from that world, the spirit world, to the physical existence.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? He said it's got nothing to do with roots. It's got nothing to do with this, that, and the other. And he said we need to start bringing all these rituals into mediumship, because all it does, it confuses people, and it also doesn't help them on their pathway in development either.
Yeah, yeah.
But how he said that with the roots, apparently everyone was in stitches, absolute stitches. Because when I come back, he turned around to one of my sitters, turned around and said, you're in right trouble. I said, why? He said, we know what you were up to because Jacob told us. And apparently we're putting roots in the ground. I said, oh, bloody hell, you can't have no secrets, can you?
There's no secrets at all. None whatsoever. But yeah, grounding though, but you know, when we're told about, you know, because we always wear shoes. We obviously have rubber soles, and that detaches us from the electromagnetic field of the planet.
Exactly.
So we do need time to take our shoes off and walk on soil or grass.
That's what I sometimes do outside in the morning if I feel a little bit not right.
Yeah.
When I go to collect the mail, because we've got a separate box where I live.
Yeah.
I go out with no shoes and socks on, so at least I'm walking on the ground.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've got that connection to Mother Earth.
Yeah.
Energy. And I can feel the energy. I mean, sometimes I'll sit under the tree there and I'll do the same while I'm reading.
Ah, that's funny you mentioned the tree, because when I was just bringing you back from the healing, I saw a huge tree in my mind. It was like the leaves sort of come down like that.
Got one in the back garden.
It made me aware as if you've got to sit under it and meditate, or that's your little quiet spot.
Right, well, I've got a tree just like that in the back garden. It's the only tree in the garden, and it's a massive, big, solid tree, and it's massive.
Yeah, it looked big, all right. I love it. I love going in the nature.
I seem to be able to lose myself.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic feeling. It's that oneness.
Yeah.
It's that interconnection with everything.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
I tell you what I'm finding more and more now, the deeper I'm getting with this work now, the more I don't want to be around people.
Yeah, we were saying that on the phone the other day.
It's getting really, really strong. It's like, and I think what doesn't help with me, because I've been told by one of the guys, and I'm an empathic as well. And I struggle so much with that because I can feel, sense, I can pick up on people's energy when I'm near them. And
yeah.
I'm even been able to tell certain things what are going to happen as well. And I don't like it at times. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
It was one thing I prefer not to have, but like when Albert said, he said, it's part of who you are. That cannot be taken away. It is who you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'll never forget once I sat in the living room and all I heard from one of my guides was look on the floor. And as I looked on the floor, I saw Neptune's trident.
Oh, wow.
2 days later, that ship in South Korea with all them kids on went down and they all died on it.
Oh, yeah. Jeez.
And I saw the Neptune's trident as plain as anything, and I had this feeling about a disaster at sea. Couldn't pinpoint it, but this disaster at sea. 2 days later, that happened.
I'm going all cold.
I had another feeling once, and it was in my own town. I had this sensation of an 8-year-old girl being knocked down and killed by a taxi.
Yeah.
Blow me, within the week, I saw in the paper a little girl had run behind from a car and got knocked down and killed by a taxi. And
yeah.
It's not nice. I mean, I've even sensed my own family when they died. I was coming home from a service one night, I'll never forget. And I can't even explain the feeling, but I felt death. It was a weird sensation. I walked through the door. Within 10 minutes of me walking through, my sister phoned to say, your Uncle Peter, Captain Peter, has just died of cancer. It was just, and the one I'll never forget is before I was doing this, I was in bed with my partner. I'll never forget the time. It was 2 o'clock, dead on. I shot up in bed, woke my partner up because I did that, turned around and said, what's wrong? I said, I don't know, just had a weird feeling, a weird sensation. I don't understand it. He said, just lie down, go back to sleep. It's a bad dream.
Yeah.
10 minutes later, my brother-in-law phoned to say, your stepfather, Dennis, has just died. He died dead on at 2 o'clock.
Oh, man.
So I was being drawn to this before I was in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that sensation I will never forget to this day. It was dead on 2 o'clock. So I remember looking at the clock and I couldn't work out why I shot up in bed wide awake. It wasn't as if it was my dad, it was my stepfather, but there was still that interconnection apparently.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've had some experience like that. I don't get visions very often now, but when I started my development, I was getting them, and I had an experience years ago, and I'd only been developing about 2 or 3 years, I think, and my mum told me to put the wheelie bin out, so I took the wheelie bin to the top of the drive by the road, and then all of a sudden this weird feeling in my heart, in my chest, in my heart, and I had to grab the wheelie bin because I thought I was going to collapse, and I started gasping for my breath, and it was like my heart was going to come through my chest, and I was like, oh my God, what is this? and I had to grab the wheelie bin, and I had to compose it for a minute. I was like, what is this? I thought, if it ain't mine, you got to remove it. And then it come away, and I was like, geez, we're in the house. Mum was like, you all right? I went, I don't know. I said, it just felt as if I thought I was going to have a heart attack. And she went, I wonder what that means. I said, I don't know. So anyway, we carried on. Me and Mum were watching some telly. And next minute, the door knocked, and it were two coppers. And I went to the door. I said, hello. And they said, have you seen or heard anything in the last hour in round here? I went, no. Well, what do you mean? Why? What's happened? And he said, well, there's been an incident with one of your neighbours. I went, well, what? And he said, well, they were throwing stones, and he's chased them up the road, and he's collapsed and had a heart attack. He freaking died.
Oh my God.
Freaking kid started throwing stones at his kitchen window, smashed his window, and he was like 73, I think he was. He was in his 70s, I'm blimmin' sure of it. Jack, his name was. And he was a lovely bloke. Soft as anything. He wouldn't even know he was in the street. It was that quiet, him and his wife. And he chased him up the freaking road and bang, had a heart attack at the top of the street and died.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But it's a horrible feeling, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I wouldn't wish a heart attack on anybody after experiencing that for 30 seconds.
I think when you feel them illnesses, what people, especially when they're going to pass, it's an horrendous feeling. I mean, that feeling of death.
Yeah.
It was really strange. Could not get my head around it at the time. But then to get a phone call 10 minutes when I got in, you know, he died. It left me cold. I thought, oh my God, I just sensed that.
Yeah. You know, there was a time when we went to visit my auntie Mary and my Uncle Doug, and I'd been developing a couple of years on, and I was well informed. My main guide running deer, my native, who's the dead stubborn serious one, and we went in the house, and my Uncle Dougie at the time was suffering cancer, and I walked in the living room, and he's in his chair, and my guide said, 2 weeks today, he's going to be with me in the spirit world. I was like, you what? He went, I have to tell you, so when you leave here, you can inform your mother to prepare her to look after Mary. I went, okay, I respect that. And I was like, is he really going to be gone in 2 weeks today? And we had a good old chat, and we had to make the most of those 2 freaking weeks. And it was a Wednesday. And he was freaking bang on the money. 2 weeks that Wednesday, bang, he was in the spirit world.
Drinking heck.
Yeah. And my Uncle Dougie, when he went to spirit, obviously my auntie had the coffin at the house because they were Catholics. Even though my auntie Mary went and seen Doris Stokes and all the rest of it, she loved mediums. And with my mum. And they had the open coffin in the back room, and my Uncle Doug was in the coffin. My mum was giving him a kiss on the head, and I'd never really seen a dead body before, and it was really eerie. And I look, and my mum's like, "It's all right, it's just Dougie." I'm like, "Yeah." It's when he ain't gonna jump out the freaking coffin, is he? He said, "Give him a kiss." Wow. I went to give him a kiss, right, and Dougie come behind me and went, "Boo!" And I freaking hit myself.
You've got a weird
jumped. I was like, "You what?" He went, "What's the matter with you?" And Dougie's just stood behind me and went, "Boo."
They've got a weird sense of humour, haven't they? And I love it. They don't lose that sense of humour.
Dougie was terrible. He had a savage sense of humour.
Oh, I mean, like I said, Albert's terrible for it. But you just mentioned one of your guides, Running Deer.
Running Deer, yeah, that's him.
I've got one who showed himself when I first started, who called himself Running Elk.
All right, yeah.
And he's very tall, very thin. He's got a big pointed nose.
Yeah.
He has a band round his head with no feathers.
Yeah.
He's so tall that I couldn't see the top part of his head when he first showed himself, because I crapped myself, because I'd only been doing it for about 6 or 7 weeks. And he wears a loincloth, moccasin boots, and nothing else. Oh, and a band on his arm he's got.
Yeah.
He calls himself, well, he said his name is Elk Running. When I was talking to somebody who knows about North American native cultures, and I said, that can't be right. He said his name's Elk Running. I said,
Yeah.
should it be Running Elk? And my friend turned around and said, no, because they would have said Elk Running, not Running Elk. He said, that's how they would have pronounced it, Elk Running. And I thought, wow. So I've got him, but I've also got one what showed themselves about 2 years ago. And you know the American cavalry blue coats?
Yeah.
He wears like one of them. He wears like what the Apache pants are like. He wears a top hat, and he's got 3 feathers in, and he calls himself Johnny Three Feathers. And he's a shaman.
Wow.
So I've got a number of them around me, and it's really strange. I had one come in the circle the other week, and the circle members saw him. They said they were gobsmacked. And he had, you know, the bison's thingy on his head with the horn.
Yeah.
He must have been, again, he must have been a shaman, because one of my sitters said, we saw him as plain as anything. He was stood near you. And all he had was like the bison's headdress on with the horns on the side.
Wow.
So I don't know why all these are drawing around me, but you know, Albert says, he says, anymore, we'll have a bloody tribe here.
Yeah. Yeah.
He calls him the Red Man.
The Red Man.
He always says, instead of saying Black Bear's coming through, he usually says, oh, the Red Man's there, he wants to speak.
The Red Man. Oh, God.
His sense of humour is just, you know what I mean? They never lose it, and that's what I like about it.
Because the personality is to do with the soul, isn't it? It's in
Yeah.
the lineage of the soul, isn't it?
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
and the personality grows with the soul. So the more advanced the soul becomes, the better the personality becomes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But one of me guides actually said when they came through, and we got somebody different coming through, they actually admitted they were the same guide, but a different aspect of them that had moved up the level as I had moved up. So as I moved up that level, one of my guides had moved up with me, but presented themselves as another aspect of another life they'd actually lived.
Yes, yes.
And it's like Jacob said, it's not who we are, it's what we bring.
Yeah.
And depending on your level of awareness, and as you raise and go through that awakening stage, you will feel that you've got another energy with you, but it is the same energy, but it's moved to a different state of consciousness and has gone up a level of training themselves.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm aware of that.
Albert has said that, you know, sometimes guides who are working with people may be also learning themselves, and they'll have a guide themselves working with them.
Yes.
To actually direct them and to help them with certain aspects of their own awakening, their own awareness development.
That makes total sense.
You know what I mean? And it's just mind-blowing. I mean, I've got another one, but he doesn't show himself often. He calls himself Jonathan. It's not his right name. But what was weird, we were sat, me and one of my circle members in the living room about 3 years ago, Saturday afternoon, just gabbing as normal. Suddenly, Sue turned around and said, "You all right?" I said, "No, I feel a bit strange." She said, "You're changing. Your face is changing." I said, "Well, we're not sitting." She said, "No, but you look really, really strange suddenly."
Mm.
And next minute, I just turned around and said, "I've got somebody with me, and they give me the name Abbey on the Hill." I said, "There's no such bloody place." So Sue said, "Let's do a bit of a research." So we started typing stuff in, couldn't find nothing at first. Blow me, Abbey on the Hill is what Whitby Abbey is known as.
Oh.
When I was young, I used to spend all my time youth hosteling up at Whitby, and the youth hostel was right across from Whitby Abbey. It's just like it's like cobblestones that go up to the youth hostel.
Yeah.
Whitby Abbey is literally 200 yards from it.
Wow.
And the energy that comes through, as we were going through the internet, I suddenly stopped on this picture. And I looked and I thought, I've still got the picture, I'll have to send it you. And I looked and thought, why have I just suddenly gone on that? And it was on a hospital tonight. So the Knights of Malta, apparently they were. And this person, he was doing the reenactment, had all the gear on, right? But across his chest, where the sword came through,
yeah,
the strap, and the cross on his chest, when you look at it, it creates two symbols. The letter A, my first name, and the number 4, my address is number 4.
Ah, no way.
And he came through eventually to say that he died at the siege of Damascus. When he shows himself in the circle at times, he's got a black, not a patch, it's like a black piece of cloth over one eye.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have the patches in them days as much. It was just they put a piece of thing, he said. And apparently he was blinded with a Saracen sword in his eye.
Wow.
And he says he comes from the 6th level of consciousness. So he's coming quite high up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when he does come through, the philosophy he brings, it's very, very deep. Very deep.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was weird. I mean, I don't believe in coincidences. All these things started to stack up. I used to spend my time at Whitby. I used to spend my time near Whitby Abbey. And he's actually told us in the circle, next summer, he wants us to go to Whitby Abbey, to go to the northeast side of the ruins. And he's going to direct me to something that is buried near the Abbey. And he wants me to unearth it. And it's a small object, he says. And he said it's for me.
Wow.
So I can't wait to go. It's going to be fascinating to find what it is.
Yeah. When are you doing that?
We're going to go next summer because with winter coming up now with the coronavirus.
Yeah.
We said we're going to go for the day up at Whitby Abbey. But it's strange that I used to spend all my time there.
Yeah.
I was drawn to that one place.
I just heard a bloody baby cry then. I think. It was either a baby cry or a crow or a bird just made a weird noise that sounded like a bloody baby.
Well, that's strange because when you were doing that with me at one point, I could hear whispering.
Right. It come from behind me over here somewhere.
You've not got a little boy that works with you, have you?
Yeah, he's my son.
I've just been told. He's on your right-hand side.
Yeah, that's my son.
Have you heard giggling as well?
I have done in the past, yeah.
But watch for this, it's going to be giggling around you, it's him.
Yeah, he could be a right little bugger.
He's mischievous.
He's great. He comes through in trance and he just talks about football.
Yeah, he's mischievous.
Oh, he's a bugger, yeah. He's pushed bags in front of me and I fell over him and all sorts.
One of mine, little Charlie Watts, I've got a key for I've got an old clock and it's one of them wind-up mantelpiece what they used to have in the early 1900s. Bloody keys disappeared. I can't wind the clock up.
Ah.
2 days ago, I've always kept it there and it's been there for 3 years. And I went to wind it up because the clock stopped. I thought, where's the key? Where's the key? And all I got from Albert was, little Charlie's moved it.
Yeah.
And I said to him, can you tell him to bring it bloody back? Because I need to wind the clock up.
I tell you what, I watched a very good film last night. My mate suggested it, called The Cokeville Miracle.
Ah, I'll have to watch that.
It's based where this guy was a nut job and he tried to blow up a school in 1986. And there was divine intervention. Kids was talking that they seen angels in the school and everything.
I'll have to watch that.
Yeah, you'll have to find it and watch it. Aiden, I thought, do you know what? It was one of the best films I've seen in a while.
Have you seen the latest thing, Proximity?
No.
Right, watch it. It's about extraterrestrial contact.
Proximity. Okay.
Yeah. I think it's also on Netflix as well. That Proximity is brilliant, especially halfway through with the aliens, the light greys. But what they talk about interdimensions, dimensions, and the whole film is based on true contacts.
Oh, wow.
And
okay.
I'm not joking. Two of the people had implants put in their arm. This alien puts this, it's like a metal band on her arm. The arm separates.
Right.
And the alien takes out the
chip thing.
The chip, and the arm goes back together, and he takes the bracelet off.
Wow.
And it's all about energy, how they can manipulate even solid mass.
Yeah, because they're working on the electro field, aren't they?
Oh, it was a brilliant film. And it's how they moved out the dimensions and into our dimension. But honestly, it's well worth watching, especially after the halfway through when it really starts to pick up. You can see where they've taken it all from, these contacts.
I'll have to get that.
Absolutely brilliant. I really enjoyed it, but I'll have a look for that other film as well you just mentioned as well.
Yeah, the Cokeville Miracle, brilliant. It just grips you.
Oh, I'll have a look at that then.
You'll have a good cry, I guarantee it.
Right. Well, it doesn't take much for me. I cried over a bloody ET when I was younger.
Oh, do you know what? I always still cry over the bloody thing now.
And you're not the only one. I don't tell people that.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I remember I was watching it years ago. I was 17 and I was going out with this girl. And I started crying at the end and she looked at me and she went, "Are you for real?" I went, "What?" She went, "You're crying over ET." I went, "Well, why not? Why aren't you crying?" Because it's a film, you idiot. I'm like, "Yeah, but, I thought ET were going to die." She's like, "How many times have you watched it?" I went, "Dozens." Still makes me cry, though.
And I cried over Ghost with Patrick Swayze.
Oh, do you know what? Whoever made that film knows their stuff.
They do, don't they?
Yeah, because I've really thought about that.
There's
a lot of truth in it.
Yeah, there is. But that end bit really got me in tears.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it does wonder if, when those black figures come and take that guy away and stuff.
Yeah.
If that happens, I don't know, but it's an interesting concept.
It makes you start thinking.
Yeah, it definitely does. Because what if they're showing you that there were the archons or the dark forces forcing that soul back into the physical?
Exactly.
Rather than dragging them off to hell or to the spirit world.
Yeah.
They might not be going to hell. They could be coming back here, because this is probably what hell is.
Well, I always say that hell is on earth.
Yeah.
I mean, one of my guys always said that, you talk about heaven and hell in your world, but you make your own heaven and hell. Heaven and hell does not exist in our world. You make your world. You can make it heaven or you can make it hell. It's all down to yourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, Thingy said something similar as well. Coral Polge, the spiritual artist, many, many years ago. She actually stated that, we make our own heaven and hell.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and I do believe that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll definitely... Bloody hell, I've got your gas, I think. I think that's definitely true. Because obviously the way we think creates the reality we're in.
Yeah.
because obviously the way we think attaches to particular quantum fields, and then that whatever we're attaching to draws in whatever that energy you're focusing on, whether it's a good energy or you know, a not so good one or a negative one.
Exactly. We need to look about energies, you know, like one of my guides said once before, you know, we have to realize, like electricity, all energy has a negative and a positive.
Yeah.
It wouldn't exist without. It's that equal balance.
Yeah, the polar opposites.
Yeah, you've got to have both.
Yeah.
You know, life could not exist without the opposites. It's that equal balance throughout the universe.
Yeah, yeah.
Even within our own lives, you know, Albert said once before, he said, you know, you talk about, you feel that there's something not nice around you. It's not a person as such, it's an energy. It's an energy that's vibrating on lower frequency.
Yeah.
You know, once or twice, one of my guides has actually let this energy in so I can understand what that energy is.
Yeah.
Understand how to deal with lower vibration energy such as that, how to counteract it.
Maybe that's why that happened with me on Tuesday.
It could be because it's Albert said, do not be fearful of it, because first of all, it cannot harm you. Secondly, we are there anyway.
Yeah.
And if you find that it's getting too much to deal with, we can move that energy away.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said to Sophia yesterday. I said our guides do a lot of protection work.
Yeah.
That we're unaware of. And Chow Lee was saying, because as I was telling her, sort of Chow Lee was talking in my ear, and he said, you're under constant attack from energy all the time. You just don't know you are. And it's us that deal with all of that.
Yeah, yeah. It's like Black Bear once said, he said that even those who come to work with you from our side of life, we still have to monitor that energy to make sure that energy is right for you at this given time.
Yes.
Because if that energy is not right for you, be it too powerful or whatever,
yes,
it can knock you off balance,
yeah,
and it can actually disrupt your own development.
Yeah.
So he said that we're there just to actually monitor the energy that's coming in. Can it work with you? Is it necessary to work with you? And will it be okay to work with you?
That makes total sense.
It's that continuation of looking after us.
Yeah.
You know, Albert said that, you know, always think of it as a circle of pure light that we bring around you. And that pure light is pure love.
Yeah.
Nothing can interfere with pure love from our side of life.
Yes.
It is a barrier that's impenetrable. It cannot be broken.
Yeah.
Trust in yourself, trust in our world, and you'll have no problems.
Yeah.
It's only when you start doubting, because doubt creates fear. Fear is an illusion. It does not exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Albert said, think about fear. Why are you fearful? It's either because of something you've done and you know the consequences, because of what you're thinking, or because you're not willing to face something and try and understand that.
Yeah.
Once you face that fear no longer exists.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You face that illusion, and you understand that illusion.
Yeah.
So Albert said there's nothing to fear at all. There's only you that creates that fear.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
You know, and he said even other people cannot create that fear in you unless you allow them to create that fear.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like what's going on now in the world, you know, people are allowing that fear to take them over and control them.
Too many are being controlled by the matrix, and it's getting even worse as well.
Yeah.
It's the blind leading the blind.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just feel that people are not willing to open their eyes and accept what's really going on. I mean, I don't trust governments. I don't trust politicians. I don't trust pharmaceutical companies. I don't trust corporations.
Yeah. Well, all those things you just listed is a corporation anyway.
Exactly. I don't trust the royal family. They're all the same. They're all in it for the same thing.
Yeah.
They're all in it for power, but power for themselves.
Yeah.
Instead of using power in a constructive way, they're using it in a destructive way.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and even Albert said, you know, we should never fear power, because power can be used in a constructive way to help others.
Yeah.
But too many in your world, he says, use power for their own benefit, for greed, materialism, and even stardom.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
I mean, one of the jokes Albert often says when he goes on about money and that, he says, always remember that old saying that comes from your world: there is no pockets in shrouds.
True.
And I thought, that's really true, that is. He said the greatest thing that you can take with you when you come to our side of life, the most precious thing, is knowledge and wisdom.
Yeah. Yeah.
They are the two most precious things that you can bring with you, and they're the only things that matter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I said, you've got to remember that money, it's a solid object. Eventually it decays and returns to dust.
Yeah.
And it becomes a distant memory, where with knowledge, it remains within you, with you, for all eternity.
Yeah, because knowledge is holographic.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's it, whatever we know and learn is is constantly in the quantum field. It's not in the brain, because the brain is the tool that accesses us to that quantum field.
Yeah.
It's the tool that tunes us into that quantum field. So yeah, knowledge isn't in the physical body, it's in our awareness.
In the awareness.
Yeah.
But the problem is people are not looking into this more. I mean,
No.
I have noticed on Facebook, if I was to put on Facebook about angels and all this sugar candy coated stuff, everyone loves it. But once you start going into the deeper realms of talking about science with the spirit world, about ETs, there's only certain mediums who respond back to that.
Yeah.
To me now, there are two groups of mediums. The ones who are living in this sugar candy, Alice in Wonder, sugar-coated world, and the ones who are living in the true world and then truth in working with spirit. There's these two groups now.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think the problem with this sugar candy group, they live in this new age mediumship. It's rubbish. You know, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
That's what one of my guides calls it. He calls it new age mediumship.
Yeah.
And he said the problem with that form of mediumship, we tend to label everything.
And you know what? Yeah, go on.
We tend to go through rituals, procedures, all this type of stuff. You know, we call it the supernatural, but one of my guides said there's no such thing as supernatural. He said there's pre-natural, because we do not understand that process at that given time.
Yeah.
Once we understand that pre-natural becomes natural.
Yes.
So he said there's nothing supernatural about it. It's only because we haven't reached that understanding of what we are actually looking at that present time, or what mankind is looking at. And he said the problem with your science in your world is governed by rules.
Yeah.
He says within our world and within other worlds, science is looked at and used in a different way. It is not constricted through rules.
Yeah.
Just because in your world, he said, because you cannot see it, hear it, you dismiss it as being not plausible.
Yeah.
But he said you've got to remember what is impossible soon becomes possible.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as impossibilities.
That's right. Yeah.
And I just think that we need to look at it a lot more. Many aspects in mediumship, spirit world. Like I said, I use the word often, the etheric and the Ethereans, because that's what one of my guides hates the word guides.
Yeah.
Absolutely hates it. Albert doesn't like it at all. He says, you know, I'm a friend. I'm a connection. I am not a guide. He said, you know, the problem with when we use guides, he said, we have to be careful because we go through that process of guide worship.
Yeah.
And he said it's a dangerous process.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard mediums turn around and say, yo, I've got Big Chief Sitting Bull for my guide. And then somebody will turn around to try and outdo them and say, yeah, but I've got Queen Cleopatra. It's like, it's an energy. It's an energy. We have to remember in the spirit world, names don't really exist. They only use them for our benefit here.
Yeah.
That energy has probably had many different life
forms.
Experiences.
Yeah.
In different ways, in different worlds.
Yeah.
I just find it fascinating, and I just find that we could be looking a lot more into it.
Yes. Yeah, you know, when you were saying about things are not supernatural, that's correct. Bruce Lee he had a saying. He says, you've got to be, how did he phrase it? You've got to be unnaturally natural.
Yeah.
Like meditation, people don't find meditation a natural thing to do because they don't practice it enough. So it feels unnatural to them.
Yeah.
But the more they do it, they will come into the understanding and awareness it's the most natural thing to do. Because you'll be coming into your own oneness, and you're not detaching from that quantum awareness, that field of knowledge.
Exactly. You know what Albert's just said?
Go on.
He said, you two gab like two old women. He just said, you're worse than me missus.
Oh, gosh. Wow. There's truth in that, I'm sure.
I just love him because he's just so straightforward about it. He's laughing here as well.
And you know what? That's what I find so lovely about our spirit team. Yeah, you're right. The word guides, I think it's just a label that we use so people understand what we're referring to. But my guides are my family.
Yeah, exactly.
I love them like they love me.
Yeah.
And I can talk about my team, and because I'm so entrapped, I love them so much, I can talk about them and feel emotional. Yeah.
I think the only thing I have to watch, I sometimes speak to them, not realising when I'm in Asda. And I've done it a couple of times because Albert's been minding me, and I've turned around and said, bog off, Albert. I said, I'm shopping. And people have looked at me and I thought, shit, I shouldn't have said that out loud.
Three of my friends have said that. Like, I've been with friends and we're talking, and then one of our helpers said something, and then I go, yeah. And then they'll go, sometimes I don't know who you're talking to. Are you talking to me or your spirit team? And I said, well, I'm talking to both of you.
I've had that with one of my mates. I've been in the kitchen and I've been maybe making a drink or something. And I start talking in the kitchen and one of my mates will shout out, what are you on about? I don't understand what you're on about. And I went, oh, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to my guide.
Yeah. It's
what we do. It's just a natural thing now. I do it in the house. I talk to them all the time. And it's like, if I'm not talking to the cat, I'm talking to the bloody guides. I'm sure people think I'm losing plot half the time. But I think it's because you've got that bond with them, that trust.
Yeah, the trust.
I mean, I have a laugh and a joke in the house. It's just got to watch that I've not got friends who are not into it, who have come around at the time because they look at me weird and they think. One of my friends only said the other week, he says, you know something? He says, you're getting weirder and weirder.
Yeah. I do wonder what my friends think about me sometimes that are not really on the wavelength of spirituality and, you know, and everything is energy and so on.
Yeah.
But we're all at our own point of awareness and understanding of what things are and how we understand stuff.
Exactly.
You know, the real truth is that they can argue with us all they want, but the truth of the matter is, when they leave this earth, when it's their time to depart their physical vessel, they are going to see what we told them is the truth.
Exactly. I mean, one of my guys said, some of you in your world are going to get a big shock when you come over.
Exactly that.
You know what I mean? Albert said, some of you, it's a shock to the system. You're going to get a right shock when you come over. And especially those who are following this religious, further what everyone's following, you know what I mean? And I just love them because they've all got their own different characters.
Yeah.
Their own essence as they come through.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, Albert, I mean, he's still here now. He's laughing now. What he tends to do with me and one of my sitters, Sue, we gab a lot on the phone.
Yeah.
And he always says, you'd like two old women, both of you. Like he just said about us just.
Yeah.
But then what he does with us, and he's done it with both of us at the same time, is implanted in our mind a fence, and both of us in slippers, curlers, and an apron on.
Oh no.
And it's his warped sense of humour.
Yeah.
In fact, he impresses sometimes that image of, remember, Les Dawson and the other one when they did Ada and the two women.
Right. Yeah.
You remember them? Ada and Barry singing somebody Clough into it or something.
I can't remember their names because I'd have been young when all that were on.
Yeah, they used to do the two women gabbing all the time.
I know what you're on about. Yeah.
He impresses that in our minds sometimes when we're gabbing for ages. And it's really comical because Sue will turn around and say, you're not going to believe what I've just seen. And I'll say, have you just seen this wall and whatever? She said, Dad, I've just seen it. I said, it's Albert. He's mucking around.
Yeah. It's like they want to be part of it.
Yeah. They want to be able to be part of that fun, that humour.
And again, that stops the hierarchy. It shows you that they want that we're all on the same level.
Exactly.
There's not one better than the other.
No.
Like they just said, that's true oneness.
Yeah, it's that oneness. But it's also helps us to discover about ourselves as well.
Yeah.
Because, like they've said to me many times, we cannot help others until we understand about ourselves.
Yeah.
We have to go deep within ourselves to understand ourselves. But at the same time, we have to accept the positive and the negative things about ourselves.
Yes.
We cannot look at the negatives in a derogatory way. We have to accept, yes, I don't like that about myself, or I don't like that negative aspect of myself, but I can work with that alongside the positive aspect of myself.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's why shadow work's so important.
Yeah, exactly. I've got them around me. This is just, I wish they'd moved back. Like a bloody party, yes. Yeah, I just got to watch because Charlie's here, little Charlie. Charlie Watts is a Cockney lad.
Yeah.
He died in the, he was a street urchin.
Yeah.
He used to sleep in the gutters. And a hackney carriage ran over him.
Yeah.
You know the old taxis, the old horse and cart?
Yeah.
One of them ran over him and killed him. But he's given us so much information. He's given the name of the road he was killed on, so we need to do research on that as well in the East End of London.
Yeah.
He's the
Is it all cobbled?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just quickly saw there was a cobbled road or something involved where he was.
He tends to come through. He's got no shoes and socks on.
Round the 1800s, is he from?
Yeah, I think I've got it written down somewhere. I think it's about 1874 or something.
Right, yeah.
He's got like ripped off pants that come up to his calves.
Yeah.
He's scruffy, dirty. I'm doing it again now. When he comes through, he makes you itch.
Yeah.
And he used a word that he told us to look up, and he said, I am flecky. And apparently when we looked it up, it's an East End word for somebody who is lousy and full of fleas and lice.
Wow.
And that's the word they used to use, flecky. Never knew that.
Never even heard the word.
No, I was surprised when we discovered it. And apparently it's somebody who's dirty, lousy. And that's why when he comes through, we itch a lot, because that's how he showed himself. He also has a tendency when he takes me down. He tends to work more with physical mediumship when we used to do it.
Yeah.
More than really the trance.
Yeah.
But what's interesting when he comes through, and it had me in stitches when they told me, as I start to speak with him and he starts physical activity in the room, he makes me pick my nose, because he picks his nose.
Yeah.
And he usually turns around and says, "Do you want a bit?" to the sitters.
Oh, no. Oh, wow.
He said on one occasion, Sue was telling me about
I just did in my head, well, there weren't much food around then.
He come through once, and they were telling me at the end of the sitting, he turned around when he was picking his nose, and apparently turned around to him and said, "Shall I wipe it on his trousers when he comes back?"
Oh, wow. Oh, it's so funny.
But this is their sense of humour, and that's what I love. He's not been around me as much recently, because I've drawn away from the physical again, because I want to concentrate. What they're working with me, the only physical aspect they've been working a lot is transfiguration and the trance together.
Yeah.
So they're bringing that. But what's interesting, the ectoplasm, what they've been creating, you know what colour it is with me?
Blue?
Black.
Oh, black.
Black.
Interesting.
And when I asked the spirit world about this, they said the colour depends upon yourself and those who are working with you. It can be white, off-white, grey, black. They're the 10s of the colours that it can be. But it depends on those who are working with you and you yourself. It's the combination of the energies that are being used together.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
He said it's got nothing to do with anything bad. It's got nothing to do about negativity. He said it's just the energy. And now that process creates that colour illusion, that's all.
Do you know what? It's funny you mentioned about colour and people referring to things as being like negative or good, because that's a really big misconception.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I had my shop from 2005 to 2010, a woman used to come into my shop and buy crystals and angels and whatnot. And she was into like paranormal investigation and ghost hunting, as they call it, and all that. And she used to say, "Oh, when I see a red orb, I just think I've got to run." And I went, "Why?" She went, "Because that's bad." I went, "Who's told you that?" She went, "Well, I just know it means it's bad." I said, "Well, it don't mean that to me." I said, "I don't know where you've got that from. That's a misconception."
Yeah,
I said, because I could say, well, if I see gold orbs, that would mean it's Jesus. Because gold is beautiful.
Yeah, exactly.
And it has no reflection to Christ at all.
Well, I mean, I've had people turn around, one person turned around and said, "Oh, you must be angry because I can see red around you. I can see red with you." I said, "No." I said, "Red is actually a sign of physical mediumship." I said, "It's got nothing to do with anger."
Yeah, when it's a deep, like the magenta red.
Yeah, and I
dark
said,
red.
I said, "I do physical mediumship, or I used to, and that's what you can see." I said, "It's got nothing to do with anger." I said, we have to be careful that we don't misinterpret what the colours really mean. And the best way of finding out what they mean to us, sit Ask
Yeah.
your spirit friends. They'll
Yeah.
tell you. I mean, when they show me green, to me, it means growth with me. They tell me it means growth.
See, with me, when I see orange, growth, orange to me means growth and transformation. When I
Right.
see green, it means balance and harmony.
See how it means different to each one. And the problem is, this is where I get annoyed with some development groups who are trying to teach people that this colour means this, that colour means that.
Yeah.
We're individuals. And as individuals, things mean different things to us.
Yeah, I fully agree with that.
And we have to sit and find out what that means.
Yes. Yeah. 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 The times when I've taught circle and stuff, and we say you will get your own dictionary or pictionary of meanings, and what that image to me means to me will mean totally different to you. So you've got to understand, or you've got to home in and tune into that image to find out what it means to you, because it's going to mean something totally different to me. Because if I see a bird cage, if I see an empty bird cage, I know to me that means somebody feels trapped.
Yeah, yeah.
But somebody will say, oh, I've got a bird cage, their bird died. But it could also mean that, but you'd have to really feel what that image is telling you.
Exactly. I mean, when things come through on a psychic level, or when they show me some handcuffs, if I see handcuffs on wrists, one of my guys, Albert, he turned around to me once and he went, just because he was showing you handcuffs, it doesn't mean something kinky.
Well, yeah, that's why I smirked, because somebody of me went, bondage.
Yeah. And what it means, it doesn't mean they're in trouble with the law. What it means to me, somebody's constricted.
Yeah.
Can't move. They feel in that one place that they can't move forward because they're constricted. Because Albert explained what it meant for me, because that's when he said, don't start thinking it's something kinky. He said, it's not. He said, and it doesn't mean someone's getting in trouble with the law.
Yeah.
It means that person feels at the moment they're constricted. They can't move. They can't go forward. And we have to understand what these different meanings mean to us as an individual.
Yeah.
Because when I've done development classes, and, you know, in the past, and I've talked about symbology and symbols and that, I've said, look, I'll give you a number of symbols, but I want you to find out yourself what these symbols mean. What do you feel that they mean with you? Not what they mean with somebody else. I want you to write down what they mean to you. And then we'll come back to it and we'll go to each of you individually to discover what you felt with these actual symbols that have been shown to you. But don't listen to what, that's why I don't ask them to tell me. I ask them to write it down. Then we go to each person individually. Because the problem is, if I ask somebody to tell me something straight off, somebody's going to copy it. Before they've written it down, they'll listen to what somebody else has said. No, I'll say that. I can't be bothered to find out, or I don't know how to find. You know what I mean? We have to find out what these meanings mean to us. I mean, Albert sometimes shows me a chair that's connected to me, and it does mean that I'm in that lazy mode, that I can't be bothered getting myself moving. I cannot be bothered to do anything. Or as he put it in plain words, I'm a lazy bugger. That's how he puts it.
Yeah.
And so when I show you this is what I'm trying to tell you. You're a lazy bugger. Get yourself off, moving, start doing stuff. But we have to discover what different things mean, especially when we're actually linking in for other people as well. What do these mean to us? How to give that to that person, what it means.
Yeah.
Like I said, with the handcuffs, you know, I'll say to somebody, you feel constricted at the moment. You feel that you're in that place that you can't move forward. We have to understand what each of these meanings, you know, mean.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. because I'm recording this, Aiden, what I'm going to do, I'm gonna go through this and edit it and make a video out of it for our YouTube channel, for my YouTube channel.
Yeah,
so
by all means.
What you can do now while we finish off, because I don't know how long we have been talking, to be honest, and because there's no such thing as time. If you could mention something about the event on Monday, that what it's going to entail, and then I'll try and get this video together as fast as I can and get it on my channel at some point today or in the morning, and then people will watch this and they'll see you talking about the trance. I have been thinking, because it may be an idea if we do this on a this trance thing on a regularly.
Yeah, because then people will get used to it when it's been actually done.
Yeah, like we do it fortnightly or something, and obviously then I'll start transcribing what your guides are saying to put into the book for us.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we'll go from there.
Yeah, because on Monday, what I'm basically looking at Monday is actually giving people the chance and the opportunity to start with to understand the process of trance. What is trance? How do we actually build upon that process? How do we start to understand what is happening when we go into that trance condition? Try to explain that the different levels of trance, and that each level is like an onion. There are many other levels within that trance.
Yeah.
Also to explain that, you know, we don't just stay in that one level when we're doing trance. Like the heart monitor, we dip up and down into the different levels.
Yeah.
Then at the same time also giving people the chance to ask questions to the spirit world. Yeah. Maybe about the spirit world itself. Maybe about their own personal development, about their own spiritual development, about how they can move forward if they come to a point where they feel that they're stuck. To try and bring understanding to what is happening around them at that present time and why they can't move forward or why they can't do something that they wish to do. To try and explain that also that what is the spirit world like? What do we understand the true understanding of what the spirit world is? How does science interconnect with spirit? Even looking at how other life forms, other dimensions, interdimensions, galaxies, universes, all have this interconnection. They are all a jigsaw puzzle that when they're put together create that greater picture of a greater understanding of all forms of life, be it life here in the physical world or life in the spirit world or life on another world itself. Yeah. So it's given that opportunity for people to understand also there is nothing to be fearful of trance. Trance is not dangerous. It is a natural occurrence. It's been happening throughout man's history, through different cultures, with different indigenous people, and it is a way that we can really interconnect and interact with the spirit world itself, and also to bring that knowledge, which is vital in our own self-awareness, but also our own self-development. And now that learning is not just about for here in this world, but it's for when we move back or transcend back into the spirit world itself, that we will bring that teaching, that learning to maybe other people in this world or maybe in other worlds.
Yeah. Excellent. So yeah, that's Monday the 7th of September, 1 p.m. And that we've still got some tickets available. We've sold some tickets and the tickets are £12. I'm really looking forward to it because, you know, obviously what we just did this afternoon, which is obviously not on this video for the channel, and where we done some healing on you, Aiden, and it was nice just to meet your guides just briefly in that session. And you know, you put up masses of knowledge and wisdom on your Facebook, that you channel from your guides, and it's always very informative, very thought-provoking, and very enlightening. And this is why I feel that we had to set this up, you and I, and work as a team to bring this trance mediumship to the forefront now, for people to get to see it for what it really is, genuine, real trance mediumship, and to bring a new level of understanding to people. I think it's really paramount now that this starts happening.
Yeah, and it's like one of my guys said once before, that the problem within mediumship, we think it's all about messages. That is only 10% of working with the spirit world. The most important thing about working with the spirit world is that word of spirit, the knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've got to expand our consciousness to new ideas and new thought processes, because the way the humanity at the moment, we're really lost about the truth of what the spirit world is, what the universe is, understanding the quantum field. Yes, science has made massive progress in understanding the quantum field. And obviously us as mediums are starting to understand it more as now on a different level, and seeing things from a different perspective. And what we're doing, it's not new age, this is old stuff, but it's being re-enlightened, it's being put back out there again, because I think a lot of the stuff that your guides are going to start talking about in the trance session, that it's stuff that needs to come back now, that the knowledge that the pioneers were talking about many years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, because the movement has definitely become lost. And that's not derogative, and it's not nothing negative. It's just what's happened. It's not anybody's fault on an individual level. It's just what's happened through the years.
Yeah, yeah.
Why it's happened, I don't fully know, but I've seen mediumship change from when I started 21 years ago to now. And it's I don't know, it's gone ridiculous. The respect and everything's gone.
It has, and I think that we've really lost the true path that we should be walking. We've become blinded to what mediumship really is, and working with the spirit world. And I think one of the greatest problems is it's now become a form of entertainment.
Yeah.
And that entertainment is a dangerous road to walk.
Yeah.
Because this is why I'm also dubious about some of the paranormal investigations that go on.
Yeah.
Because if we're doing something like that, it should be a way of education and not as a form of entertainment, because we are using the spirit world as a form of entertainment and as a form of making money out of them.
Yeah. And they're also drawn into using these machines now, EMF meters and things that go bleep and bump in the night. If you want paranormal activity, you should be tuning in with it yourself naturally.
Exactly.
Using your own natural abilities. Because there are people that go to these ghost hunts and they've all got an ability within them that they may not be aware of, because the truth is we are all mediums, we are all clairvoyant, we're all clairsentient to some degree, aren't we? Everybody.
We are, yeah.
All human form, all human souls have that natural ability of clairvoyance, clairsentience, and clairaudience within them.
Yeah.
And I think we need to step away from these gimmicks using EMF meters and whatever they use. Infrared cameras to get evidence. Yes, most definitely. But we should be using our own sixth sense now.
Yeah, yeah.
Not waiting for a machine to go blue and go, we've got a spooky over there. Yeah, great. But what is it? Tune into it.
I think the problem when we start to rely too much on this technology,
Yes.
we are not looking at the greatest technology, which is ourselves.
100% agree.
I mean, we are the greatest receptor, the greatest machine that can be ever used in contact with the spirit world, because we are spirit within us. So that spirit has a connection to the spirit world. It never disconnects from the spirit world. It's like a plug always in the socket.
Yeah.
And the problem is when we start to rely on too much of this technology in another way, we are not using ourselves to the best of our abilities.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? And I think we have to be careful of some of this technology, because is it really truly tuning into the spirit world?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Big, oh, yeah, that's opening another can of worms, Aiden. We could be another hour talking about that possibility.
I know.
There's a video on my channel now. They are creating a virtual consciousness. Well, they've created it. It's what the internet is. It's what AI is.
Yeah.
And that's what we're all getting involved in. Instead of, you know, we use Google for everything. We use the internet for finding knowledge. That's the virtual consciousness. When really, if we started to study and understand ourselves, we can then tune into the divine consciousness and get knowledge that way.
Yeah.
Which would be more beneficial for us than, technology is great and we should use it. But there's got to be a fine balance, hasn't there?
I think what the danger is, the more we turn and rely on technology, we lose that spiritual aspect of ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, that spiritual part of us becomes dampened. We lose it. We don't tend to then understand it, because we turn so much to technology that that spiritual self that we are, we lose.
Yeah, and we're not tuning into that awareness, because that's where our thoughts, our memories, and all our knowledge is, because knowledge is holographic.
Exactly.
And if we're not using the brain to the full capacity to stay within the awareness, because that's, you know, where everything is not actually in the brain, then this would be why, maybe one reason why, as we get older, we start getting things like Alzheimer's and dementia. Because we're shutting it down. We're not connecting to that awareness.
Exactly. And
obviously there's other things that cause Alzheimer's and dementia as well, but you know, not tuning into that awareness is affecting our brains over time.
Yeah. And I think that danger of that technology, that can happen.
Yeah.
It separates. It's the separation of ourselves from our true self, from the spirit that we are. I mean, those answers that we need are there within us. But we tend to stop looking for them answers within us because we're relying too much on the technology.
Yeah. Definitely.
The greatest library, as Jacob has said, is the library that's within us.
Yes. Definitely. I'll leave it there for the YouTube channel.
Right.